Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone today? Just get Louise to put her microphone on as well. Glad you could all join us. And Louise, so obviously, can you hear me? And can you hear Louise?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Louise?
I'm a bit dishevelled. Sorry, I've had my Optivisor on, so I probably got streaks of polish on my face and.
Good. How's everyone? Everyone's good. It's been. Thank you very much for all your birthday wishes. Thank you very much indeed. That was a week ago now. My birthday. How time flies by. We had a party on the weekend. My family came over. My aunties, my cousins, my sister, and my children came up to see me. It was really nice, wasn't it, Louise? And
it was lovely.
You organised everything to do with that, the food and the organising the people, and you ordered me this amazing, beautiful cake.
Would you like to see the cake? That's what I'm doing now. I'm just getting some pictures on my screen.
And get them on the laptop.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So yeah, so it was my birthday last Monday. A big birthday.
A big birthday.
A big birthday.
Special birthday.
And my sister's birthday is today as well. And of course, last week we were up in London celebrating my birthday on the Monday, and then obviously then, as you must probably seen on social media, Louise was presented with this particular. Where's your trophy?
It's downstairs. I just didn't think.
Well, whilst we're showing you my cake, I shall run downstairs and get your little trophy as well.
Yeah. So I was presented with the Roy Huddlestone Award as the highest achieving student valuer, which I'm just
chuffed about.
Still very emotional about.
So yeah, there was a really, really good evening. We were in the Goldsmiths Hall. You were presented that. You were presented
what
with
an amazing place.
Were presented with your certificate for passing, and then you had the highest achieving award as well. And Roy Huddlestone was a valuer, respected valuer within the National Association of Jewellers community.
Yeah.
So yeah, an amazing, amazing few days.
Really, really cool. Yeah.
So I'm going to run downstairs and get Louise's trophy because she's forgotten it, and Louise is going to quickly show you my cake.
Okay, can you put me on screen then?
Sorry.
Yeah, because I can share my screen now.
Am I on that one there?
Yes.
Is that okay?
So yeah.
Go for it.
So am I on?
You're on.
Good. Yeah. So this is Andrew's birthday cake. So it was made by a local lady. She makes cakes professionally, and the company's called It Started With a Cake, and I said I'd like him to have what else would he have? It had to be a jeweller's bench. So bless her, she had to research tools and equipment that jewellers use. She did say you won't be able to open the drawers. I said that's fine, because it would be a hollow cake then, wouldn't it? So that wouldn't be very good. Yeah, so I sent her a couple of pictures, and you can't really see too well on there, but it's like gold dust and silver dust sprinkled on there. There's a little ring here, and it's just.
Can you zoom in on it?
Yeah, I probably can. Oh, here we are. Yeah. Ooh. Nope. Hang on. What am I doing? So yeah, it's a little saw, mallet. The borax cone, I kept wanting to swish it around.
It was very good, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a little bit of gold there. Yeah, it was just so fabulous. There's the other picture. That's Andrew looking very pleased, wanting to eat his cake.
It looks quite small there, that cake, but it was huge.
I've taken you're in perspective there. I've frozen some of it yesterday, so we're going to be eating it a little while. It's lush. It is, and it's as good. It tastes as good as it looks. So yeah, thank you, Julie. We absolutely love it. And 2 years ago, when your dad was 100, she made us a boat, a World War II boat, didn't she? Which was your dad's. Basically, it was your dad's boat, wasn't it? The Grey Lady.
Yes. So people may have seen that on social media back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's very good.
Because she said to Jazz, my daughter, when I sent it through, she was like, "Oh no, why can't she just have a normal cake?" But yeah, how amazing! She really is very talented.
It's very good. And it's like, was it 6 layers? I think it's like
6 layers of sponge, buttercream, jam. I think there's white chocolate ganache
on the outside,
and then the fondant.
Excellent. It was very, very good. So yeah, quite impressed, very impressed with that. And out in here, I have got Louise's. Oh, let's go a bit wider on that. Oh, where's my controls? Here we go. So yes, and then Louise has this little trophy. She did win. It was an actual plate that she. Where's my face there? Ooh, look at that. Yeah. Yeah. She.
Stop it! Get off my trophy.
So this is Louise. This is Louise's trophy that she won. The National Association of Jewellers, the Roy Huddlestone Trophy, 2024 winner, Louise Berry. And you had a beautiful silver. Put that on your bench. Show that. Bit off the pride. So you had this nice, beautiful silver plate. And yeah, there's only 2 winners on there. The first winner was Lady Anna. Somebody, can't remember who the lady was, unfortunately, but Lady Anna, and then Louise's name is next.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
it's a new award. It's
a brand new award.
Last year was the first year.
So
I'm going to be near the outside of the plate. So
exactly. Start on the outside,
my name's engraved,
your way in.
which is just amazing.
Brilliant. So there we go. So that's what's been happening to us. All fun and laughter, games and frivolities. Next Monday, it seems like we're hardly here now for these Q&As, but we can't help these things. Birthdays get in the way. And next Monday, one of my daughters, as you know, we're going to become grandparents. And next Monday, she's having the baby. So we are going to be going up there to be there when that happens. So unfortunately, the Q&A is not going to be here next Monday.
Could do it from the labour ward.
We won't be doing it from the labour ward.
Chris would love that.
I don't think she'll love that. Yeah, bring the baby into the world. Hey, you're live on YouTube. So I don't think they'll agree to that. So next Monday, yes, we'll be grandparents. Grace is having a cesarean next Monday. So that's all good. The following Monday was due to be a workshop, but unfortunately, these things happen. We are having to go to a funeral.
Yeah.
It's
all happening at the moment, isn't it? It's
so
just, yeah.
A dear friend of Louise's passed away last week before last. So the funeral's next Monday. So unfortunately, next Monday, baby, week after is going to be the funeral. But the week after that, it's going to be a workshop. And I know we've still got this on the board from the wax workshop. As I said, we haven't been here to even film the berry bonus. These films have been done, but they're not live yet.
Leave the picture on, 'cause it's making me laugh.
No, so so we're going to have to just again wait a little while for that. As I said, life is getting in the way at the moment of a lot of things.
We've seen everything. Everything's happened the last few weeks, isn't it? It's just been
absolutely
overwhelming, but
hectic. So we are still waiting to get in fact, everything is still around us from when we just left the place 2 weeks ago. The films will be live on At The Bench when I do the casting of the little stone in place. So that's going to be a few more weeks still, unfortunately. But in 3 weeks' time, we're going to be doing a workshop. And again, it's a workshop that we've been asked for many, many times before. We've been behind the scenes, getting everything together. And it's going to be it's going to be very popular for what's coming up in the summer, because Louise does love a bit of
a glunk.
Bit of a glunk on the beaches and picking up sea glass. We got absolutely loads of it from the times that we've been looking around the beaches. We went down to Falmouth a few years ago and we got some lovely pieces of sea glass, and we're going to be doing a sea glass workshop. So we're going to be showing you all different ways to set sea glass, how to drill it, everything else, set it. So that's what we're going to be doing in 3 weeks' time. The next workshops are going to be £25 instead of £15. And at the end of this month, all the workshops are going to be going up now to £25. So if you're watching this and you want to buy a workshop, please do.
I was going to say, it's worth saying that memberships will remain the same price.
Yes.
So your renewals, or if you're thinking of joining at the bench, it will, we're not planning on increasing that anytime soon at all.
No.
So don't worry about that.
Yeah, and obviously if you're a paid member of At The Bench, well, then all these workshops are going to be included with your membership. Obviously, when you're still a paid member. So yeah, £25 from the 1st of April. So the next workshop will be £25. And £25 for a 3-hour workshop, I think, is still amazing values. Workshops like that are going to cost you at least 5 times that, £100, £150. But £25 for the workshops, that'll be going live on At The Bench when we get around to edit that. But this workshop, as I said, and all the previous workshops will be £25 going forward. We sent out an email, I think it was last week, with a brilliant response from that. People were buying workshops, but don't forget, if you feel that you want to buy 1 or 2 or 3 workshops, it may be cheaper you buy in a membership to At The Bench. You don't have access just to those couple of workshops, you have access to all the workshops that have gone in the past, and obviously if you're a paid member and your payment's up to date, all workshops going forward as well. Consider joining for a year, £200. Bargain. Brilliant. How is everything, Louise? Do we need to say anything more than that?
I don't think so, no. I think we do you want some questions? Get started on some questions?
That's a good idea. Yes, why not? It's
Okay.
obviously Monday, the 24th of March, week after my birthday. It's my sister's birthday, Robert Teever's birthday in 3 days' time. Time for the, just thought I'd tell you, if Robert Teever's watching, hello Robert Teever, happy birthday for 3 days' time. My friend I went to school with, back in the days, back when I was 15, 16. Time for a question and answer. It is now about 12 minutes past 4, Monday 24th. Louise, let's have a question.
Okay, lots of happy birthdays coming
Thank you
in.
so
Thank you
much.
guys, and lots of congratulations. Thank you very much. Good. Sorry, I should have got a question ready, but I didn't. Yes, the candles did give it away. There was 6.
There were 6 candles.
One for every decade. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing as well. It's the 60ness and the grandparenty thing all in one go.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Just thought I'd put in there while we're waiting for a question. Barbara's saying, read the memberships. My membership is due in May. Should I renew now to take advantage of the $50 off?
Yes, should be automatic and it'll be renewed at the renewal price, so it should be $150 instead of £200. Yes, so it should automatically renew, so you don't have to do anything at all.
But it will renew at the reduced rate.
Yes.
So
it
yeah.
will. Yes, exactly.
Good. Victoria was laughing at your drawing as well. Yeah, but I know I was really giggling in the workshop, and yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me. Gabby says my husband's birthday is around the same time as Andrew's, and mine around Louise's. Oh, cool! Pisces and Virgos are so good together. Yes.
Excellent.
Good. I don't think we've had any questions. Anybody got a question? I mean, I just like the chat. I'm here for the bounce, but if you do have a question, you can ask.
Yeah, please do.
I'm sure I've got loads of questions, but
Bampy Berry. So yeah, I think we obviously have this chat. I'm going to be the granddad. We said we're going to be. We're not going to be the Welshie sort of grandparents, granddad, and is it grandma you want to be called? Grandmama.
I don't know.
Grandmama.
Thing is, I think with sometimes babies and children just call you what they want anyway, don't they? So
I'll make sure they call you grandma.
Oh.
Or they will no. They will answer to me. No.
It's yeah. Oh, you don't mean that, but yeah. I don't know.
Joking.
I'm just super excited.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
It's getting exciting. Week to go. Week today. Yes.
And of course, we're gonna make a baby bangle.
Yes.
Perhaps we could make a film.
Partly cast, but yes, we can show that, can't we?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yes.
Caitlin says, how much should I invest in an ultrasonic?
It's a good question. It depends upon, this is the thing, if you buy a really cheap ultrasonic, and I say cheap, perhaps £50, £100, they're only going to be useful for occasional use, and the waves that the ultrasonic transducer on the bottom is not going to be great. They're more ideal for cleaning things like, remember those CDs back in the day? You could clean your CDs with them, you can clean your glasses with them, and they all do certain types of cleaning when it comes to that. Occasional use, once or twice a day perhaps, you can get away. I think we bought some a little square stainless steel one with digital controls. We used it every day. It blew up in about 3 or 4 weeks. Not very good. That was about £100. But if you use it occasionally, you should be fine. Don't expect a £50 or £100 ultrasonic machine to do the same job as a £500 ultrasonic machine. You won't. They won't be. They're completely different markets, completely different jobs. So don't be surprised if a cheaper ultrasonic takes longer to clean, perhaps doesn't clean as well, and perhaps you still have to get in there with the toothbrush just to help remove and dislodge some of the dirt. I bought, when I started first, I bought a £100 ultrasonic. That was back in late 1980s, and it was £100 then, which is still quite a bit of money. Perhaps that's worth about £400 or £500 now. I had it for a long time. I had a Sonorex, a mechanical timer on it, absolutely brilliant. It lasted me for years and years. Again, that was about £400. I bought an Elmer. Personally, I haven't had much luck with an Elmer. I've had 3 machines, Elmers. The first one went within its warranty. The second one went outside of its warranty, and it would cost more to fix it. So I had another one, and then, oh, someone's knocking the door, Lou.
Shall I go in?
Yes, please, yeah. And then I'll turn the microphone off. And then the one I've got now is a Durston one, and it's on every day. It's on for about 4 or 5 hours a day. Absolutely brilliant, and I love the Durston one. So you get what you pay for, but I would start to spend about £100 and up, depends upon your circumstances and your budget. Someone's knocked the door, sorry, we were expecting a delivery. So yeah, so Caitlin said, how much do I invest in ultrasonic? So there we go. Yvonne has sent a picture with some text to it. I cannot show that because that is on my phone, but the images showed a floral flower. Yep, and it had a stone in the middle, and it had 4 claws, and it needs to be soldered upon to a ring shank. Now, you cannot solder that flower onto the ring shank if that stone is susceptible to heat. It's as simple as that. If the stone that is in the middle of the flower is a diamond, and you know there's no nasty inclusions, it's not glass filled, it's not fractured or anything like that, you should be able to solder that onto the shank. If it's a sapphire, you may have problems. Personally, I would always take that stone out because you cannot necessarily tell what that is. The heat involved in soldering that flower back onto the ring shank is going to damage 99% of the stones that's in here. So just ease those claws back, take the stone out, you can clean underneath them, solder that in place upon the shank, and then pop the stone back in and just squeeze those claws back onto the stone. Because from what I could see in the picture, it looked quite a dirty stone, or maybe dirt behind it, or is that colour, and it's not going to be a diamond, so you're not going to be able to solder that in place, so the stone has to come out. And again, don't even think about, oh, don't worry, I'll put a bit of cool heat over the front of the stone to protect it. It's not going to work. It's not a miracle paste cool heat, because the covering that has to go on the front here may be quite big, but when you have, say, your that's wrong around that way there. So say you have your petals like this, and here are the claws here to solder up onto the ring. this distance from here to here is too close. You may be able to pile cool heat on top of by here, but you can't put the cool heat down here. And even though you may put cool heat on top, you can't put it underneath, and the heat's going to transfer easily through to the stone and damage it. So you're not going to be able to do it. The stone has to come out, I'm afraid.
Was that the question that came through? Did it come through to you via email?
Yes, and lady just mentioned it now
That
in the chat. Yes, Yvonne.
Yvonne.
I think it was that one, yes.
Yes. Oh, fab. Good. Okay. Versace is saying, how would you set a stone that has uneven thickness? It's very small.
A flat stone? Is it a flat stone or faceted
give us a
stone?
little bit more info about the stone and how you're planning on setting it.
Setting it, yes.
Please. Brilliant. They don't expect cards with Nana on because they don't exist. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Diana sent me a question which I've got here. Would you like to? Don't share screen just yet,
No,
but I'm just going to. So Diane saw our post on embellishments. I'd like some info on soldering items other than granulation. I watch on YouTube. I have a silver lizard that I would like to solder a copper monstera leaf without the solder running into the texture and valleys of the leaf. I've sanded the lizard flat on the back and formed it to the curves of the leaf. I'm wondering if I should sweat solder the bottom of the lizard. I don't want the solder to flow onto the leaf's texture and ruin the piece. I should have made the leaf in silver, but here we are. Okay, 1 second. I will just get them. Oh no, that's your cake again. Hang on. Yeah, we've all seen enough of that. Let me.
We will wait and see.
Oh, it's a bit small. Why is it? Sorry, 1 second.
That's okay.
Actually, I'm going to have to just quickly save the picky.
And then enlarge it.
Yeah. No, it did the same thing again. Sorry.
Well, I can talk about it, can't I?
Let me.
Can we talk
I'm
about
nearly
it?
there. Yeah, you can have it now. 1 second. Sorry.
Okay, just tell me one.
Okay, go for it. There we are. Wow, that's really cool. I love it.
Wow. Alrighty, so I think you're right in saying about the sweat soldering. Perfect. So what you want to do, you've got your, I'm going to be very embarrassing now, and I'm going to try and draw a lizard. That's my lizard, all right? That's the top of the lizard.
Didn't run over.
It has been a bit. And here's my leaf. Yeah. Like that. So then you've got your little your grooves, your little valleys by here. So what I would do is exactly what you said, but I would put a little bit more solder on than just on one point. I would perhaps put some solder here, sweat some solder here, and perhaps sweat some solder here. And the tail's quite thin, so I would try and sweat some solder on the back end of the tail. So when you warm this up, you flux it, you warm it up, you let the solder flow into these areas here, you let the solder flow, you can perhaps get your solder pick, just tease it out, and then on the tail, okay? Then what you would do, you would then put it in the acid, you pickle it, you bring it back out, you flux the bottom of the lizard, you flux the leaf, you turn the lizard upside down so it's all the right way around, so the two flux surfaces and the solder is in the middle, and then you just heat up the leaf. I wouldn't try and heat up the lizard, I would heat up the leaf. Now, because what I always say is that the solder always likes to be between two surfaces. It will always stay between two surfaces because of capillary action. The solder will not venture out on its own. Okay, so heat up perhaps from underneath the leaf, and then the heat will be transferred from the leaf through to the lizard. Now, obviously all this solder is on the underneath of it, between the lizard and the leaf. And then as the heat is transferred from the leaf through to the lizard, when the temperature is right for the solder to flow, the solder will just flow. It will stay underneath the lizard. It should not go out past the lizard because the solder likes to stay between two surfaces.
What if it's at a point where it's not in contact with the leaf?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
I think I wouldn't worry too much about the legs. I think if this lizard is flat and the leaf is flat, and providing there's flux underneath, the solder should sort of flow to the extremities as you do it. I'd solder on the tail here because that may catch. The others, the arms and the head seem to be fine.
So Diane said I was planning on sweat soldering everywhere it touches.
You can do it. I would limit the amount of solder. So again, I would just put the solder here, and then as the solder melts, just perhaps drag a little bit out into these areas. A little bit of solder here. Drag the solder when it's molten into these areas. I wouldn't want to cover the whole lizard. It's going to be too much solder. Just do those little extremities, because if the feet are in contact with the leaf, the solder will flow. You try and cover that lizard in one go with all solder, there's going to be too much solder, and then you may have a chance of the weight of the lizard pushing down the solder and forcing the solder out. You don't want that to happen. So limit the amount of solder that is there, and it should just flow and stay underneath the lizard without moving out onto the leaf. The solder likes to stay between two surfaces.
So you wouldn't bother, like you could just put some pencil, like a little bit of graphite.
Yeah.
You wouldn't bother doing that.
You could.
That works quite well.
Yeah, you could, where the position of your lizard is, as Louise said, get like a 4B pencil or a 6B pencil, a really soft one, and just draw around.
It's like a crime scene now.
The shape of the lizard that looks like that. So the solder will not flow, it will not cross the lead from that pencil. You can try things like Tipex, yellow ochre, but then those
Probably
tend to
shouldn't
dirty.
heat up Tipex though, should you?
Not really, you shouldn't breathe in the fumes, but it usually stains the metal. But like pencil lead around the outside will stop the solder flowing outwards, but if you don't use a lot of solder, it shouldn't, and it should be fine.
Cool. That's
Excellent.
Good. Thank you. It looks beautiful.
It's very good,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I love it.
Yeah,
I really
I love
love it. Good. Okay. That's good. Nothing's come through to me, Yvonne.
Yes, it came through to me.
That was the flower.
Sorry.
The flower and the stone
with the-
question.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so you've answered that one.
Good.
Lexi has a ventilation question. Should I purchase when using my torch? I don't have one.
It depends on really where you have your soldering station positioned. If you use things like solder paste, a fume is given off, the flux, whatever it is, burns off, and it's nasty. It's a nasty smell, and you should not breathe it in. You should have some sort of ventilation system, whether it be simply by an open window, with the door open window, so you get a through draft, and it'll take away the fumes. But usually by having normal pallet solder, wire solder, and things like borax, for instance, you should be fine. You're not going to be doing this right over it, breathing in the fumes. You're always make a point of not necessarily standing directly over, but having a little gentle through breeze, you can do. You can buy these big extraction systems that sit on your bench that suck all the air away. Yes, they are great, but I find usually for a little bit of soldering, we solder at our bench like this, it's a little bit overkill. But as long as you are sensible, you can always wear one of the special masks that filter out dust and fumes.
I wear that. I've been wearing that today. That's why I look a bit of a state, because when I'm de-spruing,
Yes.
I wear one because it kicks up a lot of coarse dust, and I don't want to breathe it in, so I put a mask on.
Exactly. But something like that, or even like the big ones with the two little filters on the sides.
Yeah.
That should be fine. Yes,
I think if you're going to worry, I think it's good to just take every precaution that you can anyway. And
Yes.
for me, a lot of the time that's just one of the masks with the FFP2 or FFP3.
Yes.
That's my go-to.
Yes.
And the workshop is very well ventilated anyway. So yeah, I would take every precaution that you can reasonably put into place and afford.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but then you can also then
you might be set, your bench might be next to a window and you can wear a mask, and perhaps that's enough for
just to do it,
for occasional soldering.
But that's the reason why, one of the main reasons why I don't use paste solder is that when you put the flame on it, these fumes come off it, and I don't want to be breathing that in. I don't like paste solder anyway, so that's why I would never use it when it comes to that. Yeah, very good question.
I don't know how to use it.
Don't even go there.
You're not going to tell me either, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not going to use paste.
All right.
No.
Going back to Versace's question, it's an opal, tiny flat opal.
But it's not the right thickness. It's uneven thickness.
It's varying thickness, yeah.
So there's going to be two things that you can do. You can either correct the variation of thickness, or you can just accept it. So if you made here's your back plate, it's a section through the bezel. Okay, here is your bezel here, okay, on either side. That's the back, and this is like the cross section through. Yeah, like that there. And the stone goes into place. If your stone now, I'll draw it perhaps down here. If it's thick here and it ends up thin like that. If it's uneven like that, or if it is, it's like that shape, yeah, then it's completely wonky. So there are sort of two things that you can do. If it's like this, what you can do is put a little bit of packing piece in here to counteract the variation of height. So the stone would go in at an angle. You would pack this, you can pack this, the Navajo Indians used to use some sawdust. So you can put some boxwood sawdust in this area to put the stone on top, and that would cushion it. Or if you wanted to pack this little area here with some epoxy resin, you could do, just to make sure the bottom of the bezel is raised in the particular part where the stone isn't quite right. Then you're going to find then that the stone is going to be nice and even, yeah, because you've made allowance for that. There's that way, or you can just embrace the unusualness of the stone and simply have your back plate, here's your bezel, and have it a bit narrow by there. So then the stone is a bit wonky, and the stone can be quite deep here, and it can be nice and shallow here, and you can, yeah, something like that anyway. And you can still alter the height of the bezel, so the bezel is the right height to come over the stone and have the stone looking slightly wonky. Personally, I would perhaps get another stone if you could, or adjust the bottom of the bezel to lift the stone up so the stone is even to the eye.
Sawdust?
Mentioned sawdust.
Oh, did you?
Now.
Sorry, I was reading the questions, not paying attention.
Yes, so yes,
okay.
Sawdust is ideal, or a little bit of, let's say, epoxy resin, just to lift up that stone. But sawdust is great. There's a little bit of give in sawdust. As you burnish down, the stone drops down a little bit, but then because there's sawdust, it will come back up again, yes.
What happens if it gets wet? Is it going to rot?
It doesn't usually rot. No. It will swell slightly, yeah. So it's something that you would leave out of water if possible.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes...
Yeah, get caught in the rain, drop it down the toilet, whatever.
Okay. Right, Barbara's saying, when soldering 28 to 30 gram plain silver bezel, I have trouble making the joints flush without a lot of fussing. Sawing the two at the same time doesn't always work. Any tips?
So 28 to 30 gauge, that would be.
Oh, gauge, sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
I was thinking then.
It's a lot, I think.
It's a big bezel.
A lot of people will come along and use flush cutters for cutting the ends of bezels. Some people will come along with a pair of shears and cutters.
What's 28 to 30 gauge in?
We must get a table.
We need to, don't we?
Must put a table up. But I imagine it's going to be quite thin. It is a problem that you can overcome with the skill in soldering. I would always try and get the ends of the bezel obviously completely flush and flat. So it's about the normal thickness that you get, say like from Cookson, sorry. So if you have a pair of flush cutters, when you cut a piece of metal, one edge will be flush and the other will be cut like that. So if I was using flush cutters to cut a piece of metal, I would cut, for argument's sake, a pair, yes. So I'd have a pair of flush cutters, so I would cut like the flat edge here and cut that side, but this side is going to be at an angle due to the cutters, so I would turn the cutters around and cut there. So I would cut that and cut that. That then would give me pretty much flat areas to solder. If you try to solder the bezel wire and the ends come together like this instead of like this, you are going to have a hard job trying to solder it. So I would always make sure that these edges of your solder wire or bezel, whatever it is, are flush and even like that. You can saw it. When you come to saw, obviously the teeth are like that, obviously, so it cuts on the downward stroke, but the teeth will always cut in the upward stroke as well. Not as much as obviously pulling it downwards, but it's got a gentler cut by pushing upwards. So if this is, say, this is 0.3 millimeters thick, you can just run the saw upwards and it will still cut through the metal without distorting it. Don't try and cut the metal across the top. Use the saw going across the whole width of the bezel. Don't try and cut it down this way, but you can cut through it that way, or just go up and up and up, and it will make sure it's nice and flat. You can always use a miter jig as well to get your, he's looking for a miter jig, I'm sure there is one in here. Never use a miter jig myself. Did I take it down for you, Louise? I did, didn't I?
You did. Do you want me to go and get it for you?
No, it's okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Nope, I got one here. You can always use a miter jig, something like this here. Undo the screws, pull it apart. This is the 90-degree area here. Put it in so the metal lies flush with this little cutout here, as you can see here. So you can ensure then that if it lies against this little piece that's sticking out here, it'll be 90 degrees for the edge. You push it together, tighten these up, file across the top, and then you'll get a nice 90 degree. So that is what I would do. I would never, ever use a pair of shears or side cutters, flush cutters to cut a bezel. It distorts the metal too much. I would always put it on the edge of my peg and just gently run the saw upwards to make sure it's nice and flat. And then you've got that 1/3 of a millimeter together. Ease it together so it comes together perfectly without twisting. A little bit of solder and just to try and solder it. But that would be the way I would do it. Don't use shears, don't use flush cutters, but saw it and file it nice and flat. Yes, Leo?
Let's have a look. You mentioned in a recent video about using yellow ochre to prevent solder running. Mm-hmm. Is this watercolour or acrylic paint?
Watercolour.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay, David, did you get the video link I sent to work? I completely forgot, David. I'm so sorry, because that was a week or two ago, wasn't it? And like maybe even a week before. It's just been. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna write it down. Yeah, sorry, it's been absolutely, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's just, and then we got member staff ill as well, so she's off for a few weeks. So we're absolutely up to our eyeballs.
Yeah, I do apologise. I'm gonna have a look, and that's my priority tomorrow. Thank you. Sorry, I do apologise. Okay. Eddie says, I know it's a general question, but would you please tell us about pricing formulas? Ooh, it's no one way to start with that, isn't it? Because we did 2 workshops on pricing your work. Part 1 and part 2. And it's on At the Bench. The workshops are on At the Bench. Still £15 at the moment, but they're going up to 25 very, very soon. Or if you've got an At the Bench membership, you can see everything. Okay. So part 1 is if you work out of your own premises, or like a home studio, or like my shedio, that kind of setup where your overheads are perhaps a bit more manageable than if you've got a dedicated premises. And it's, factoring everything in, your consumables, your hallmarking. It's not really something that we can cover quickly and easily in a Q&A.
No.
Part 1 is basically that. Part 2 goes on to if you're... part 1 is kind of like hobbyist and home studio based. Part 2 is external premises and running a business, really, isn't it? Full time, exactly. And depending on it for your livelihood, I guess, is how you would. Is how you would.
It's not as simple as just coming along and times in something by 2 or times in something by 3 and expect that to work. You have to go through, and initially it's a lot of work. You have to work out how much it costs you an hour to run your business, for you to have a wage, and how many hours you're going to spend at the bench at the end of the day. There's a lot to go into, but once you've got this particular formula, it may take you several hours to work it out. Then you use that particular formula and apply that formula then to the piece that you're doing, and then it is nice and straightforward. It's not as simple as going times 3 and there's your answer, because it's not as simple as that.
You need to ask yourself, basically, are you going to supplement an income with this? Is this going to be a full-time job? What do you want out of it?
Yes.
Like for my dad's a landscape artist, and all he wants is to... I mean, he's in a very fortunate position. He's retired, and all he wants is to earn enough to carry on and pay for keeping him in paints and canvases, and the odd trip to West Wales for some inspo and painting trips. That's what he does it for.
Yes.
So, but not everyone's in that position. So it depends on what your circumstances are, what your overheads are, and what you want to get.
Yes.
And where are you selling your work? Are you selling it yourself online? Are you selling it through a gallery? Because whether you're selling it via a third party or gallery, will heavily influence your pricing strategy as well. So that's I've got an advert. Why have I got an advert?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness! How do I? Sorry, guys. So I would advise you. Have a look.
Yes, but the workshop is really good. It's got a spreadsheet. You put all your costings into the spreadsheet. It'll work everything out and give you like an hourly rate. But it's not as straightforward as what people will tell you on the internet. I bang my head against a brick wall sometimes and go, no, that is not the way to sort it out. It is not as simple as just saying, well, how much do you want to earn? How much is the gold? How much is the silver? Times it by 3, times it by 2. It's not as simple as that, and don't believe anybody who said it. We've been in business for the last 38 years, so I think we've got a bit of experience behind it, and we've run several businesses, and it's not a simple job. A lot of these people who do these types of formulas haven't run a business, don't make, or they have done, and they decide it's not for them, because they're not making any money. So obviously they're not doing that. They're not giving you the right information. So that's what we say. Yes, Louise?
Yeah, it's not cut and dried, is it? So
not at all. Good.
Great. How do I turn these flipping adverts off? I'm sorry, guys.
What's happening?
I'm not sure. People are having adverts. I've just had an advert.
That's weird.
Yeah. I've just delayed them. I don't know whether...
What is that 9, 17, 16 that's counting down?
Well, I've just clicked delay adverts. But I want to stop them altogether. Sorry. It's let's have another question for a minute.
Yes. Can you pause
thank
that
you,
one?
Gillian.
Countdown. Can you pause that countdown?
No, it's counting down now, isn't it? It's just like, Lexia asked the question about ventilation. It's a little Smith torch in a house kitchen.
Okay, yeah, you just got to be very careful with where you position it, with what you decide to do. Don't put your head directly over it. Some fumes will be given off, but the majority of times, if you use, as I said, some stick solder, some panel solder, and some natural flux, you should not necessarily need a huge amount of ventilation. But as Louise said, a little window open, little through draft would be excellent.
Yes. Take every precaution you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay, Barbara's saying, I've seen statement pendants with lovely embellishments over the top of the stone. How would you set a stone in a setting like that?
It depends on how those embellishments obviously have been put onto the stone. A lot of the times the stones have been drilled and the little embellishment has got like a rivet on it. So the rivet will go through the stone and it'll be riveted on the back of the stone, so the embellishment is on the front. Sometimes there's a little hole drilled perhaps into a pearl, and again it's just like a very short little stud that goes into the hole that is cemented into place. So you've got some little balls or flowers on the outside of a stone. Sometimes you can have, we did one with a butterfly. So we had a bezel, and we had, I think it was an amethyst in a bezel, and then before the stone went into place, I soldered a wire here, I brought the wire out, I soldered the wire down here, and on here I did a butterfly, and I soldered a butterfly onto that. So this, here's my bezel here, this was sticking up like this, and here was the butterfly up here. I slid the stone in on the side, and then when I brought this down into place, I sort of twisted the butterfly round so it was sort of that sort of shape. So here was the butterfly like that. So it comes down, and by twisting it, it tightens that wire down on top of the stone. So that was something that I did. But usually if it's just an embellishment on top of a stone, it is usually because that stone has a very, very short little hole drilled into it, and say the butterfly has a little stem that sticks out of it that goes into the hole. And that would be the way they would do it, I expect, yes.
You can get some very nice gallery wire as well, which comes over the top.
Yes.
Can't you?
Yes,
That's
really
quite
nice.
effective.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. And that
Good.
looks rather nice. And then you can also perhaps solder on some embellishments on the edge of the bezel.
Of
So
the gallery wire?
Yeah, the gallery wires, when you come across, then there'd be a wire coming over on it, perhaps, yeah.
That would look cool.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, good. Sandra says, how can you work harden prongs? I usually make bezels but have a project needing prongs. I worry they could catch and bend if not hardened somehow.
Right, okay, so it depends on the length of the prongs, it depends upon the thickness of the wire. There's not necessarily a formula to think about, but if you had, and we're going to look at this when we come to do our beach glass or sea glass, and you see sometimes you see like an irregular shape like this, and there's these claws that come right across and hold onto the stone like this. I don't like to see things like that, because as you say, there is a chance that these long claws can catch. You're never going to get that claw in contact with the stone all the way along. So perhaps here is your stone here that is within a bezel, and the claws are coming up. You're never going to get that claw to meet that stone all the way up, and they're going to be too long. They're going to catch. It may look great, but they're not the best type of claws. If I was doing that, I would make sure the claws are lovely and short, because the shorter the claw, the less chance there is of the claw catching and also bending. It's easier to bend a claw this way up if it's long, but if you've got a short little claw that is down here, there's not much chance that claw is going to be able to be pushed outwards because the claw is short. whereas this claw is really long. Easier to bend a long bit of wire than it is a short bit of wire. So that is how I would approach the subject. What was the question? Sorry. What's the thickness? Thickness of claws. Yeah, you want to make sure they don't bend. Yeah. Or if you wanted them really, really long,
work hardening prongs
like that, then they would be quite thick, because a thicker wire is harder to bend. The problem is, once you have bent these over onto the stone, you're not going to be able to work hard on them. So that's the reason why, if you want big, thick claws, they've got to be, well, not big, thick, but long claws, they've got to be quite thick, because they can't bend. If you try and work hard on them before they go over the stone, you're never going to push them down onto the stone, because a work hardened bit of metal, when you push it down, will always come back up slightly, and there will always be a gap at the bottoms of the claws. So I would never try and do that. Make sure they're nice and short, and also when they come over the edge of the stone, try not to have a blunt end like this, but try and just taper them down a bit like that, so they don't catch in anything as well. And you can't work hard on that. That's why I would always have short claws, thickish claws, knowing they're not going to bend back once you have eased them into position. Yes, Louise.
Good. Okay. Lewis saying, did you get a chance to ask Andrew about the custom dog faces on rings that I sent via email? Oh, I remember. I can't see each one being carved individually, especially in high demand. Do you remember I showed you an email?
Yeah, they are.
Because on the film, there was a gentleman engraving them by hand.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
that's what the company was indicating they were doing, and that's what it.
Yes, I assume, based upon the information that the company gave you on the website, they engrave everything by hand. And don't forget, these people are skilled. I expect they're going to be able to know.
They were quite reasonable, though, weren't they? They were reasonably priced.
$300 for a gold one.
No, it was a gold-plated silver one. But still, for something hand engraved.
Yep, hand carved like that.
Yeah, I think that was very reasonably priced.
Yeah, so I think, based upon the film that they show you, where they're engraving the coat of arms, they're done by hand. There's a company in this country that do exactly that. They do that by hand. That's all they do, day in, day out. And when they put it into the wax for the seal, it's absolutely beautiful, and it is all done by hand. Perhaps they use a laser to take away some of the metal, perhaps, and perhaps get the sort of the image, and then they go along there with the graver afterwards and carve it. I don't know.
You could have a play with some wax. You could get a wax signet ring, and carve something in wax, an image, and cast it. And if you don't like the result, then it's just, you can just remelt it and do something else with it. But
it is.
Yeah, it's quite a low risk way to, because we did the wax workshop last time. I don't know if you saw it, Lou, but that could work. Could be a technique that could be used for something like that, because otherwise you're looking at laser engraving, aren't you?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any other way to manufacture that, or to get that kind of effect, if you're not going to hand engrave it, cast it with the pattern already in, or the picture already in, or laser engrave it. Is there any other way that it can be achieved?
I can't think of anything, no. But don't forget, as you're engraving it, if you're engraving a hole, it's going to be raised when you do a seal. So it's got to be in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the seal, the Aspire seal ring, you mean it's hand engraved, so the metal is recessed.
Yes.
And then you put that in wax, and you put it on the back of a letter, put a blob of the wax, and then you do that with the ring, and the imprint of whatever's on the front of the signet ring goes into the wax.
And it's
just
raised.
Yes,
exactly.
Just to explain what
the seal
ring is, It's not seal as in up.
Very good.
Because they don't have fingers, do they?
So that's the way I think, based upon the information the website gives you, they're done by hand. And I know there's people in this country that do it by hand. Absolutely brilliant. So I think, unless they show you anything differently or tell you otherwise, I would assume they do it by hand. And I'm sure that they could do an engraving in perhaps 20 minutes, half an hour. I would have thought something like that, because that's all they do day in, day out. Yes, Louise.
What did I just see? Gillian said, do it in art clay.
Yes.
Like metal
Practice with
clay.
that. Metal clay.
Is that the same thing? Art clay, metal clay?
We don't know how it would look when you burn it out, when you turn it into silver. Don't know.
You could practice on a disc, couldn't you? If you didn't want to cast a whole ring, get a wax disc, carve a little doggy's face or whatever you want to do, and then just cast the disc, and then you can solder the disc to the top of a shank.
Yeah,
or
you can do that.
Carve the original carving into the top of a wax ring blank.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone's had 3 adverts. Are they today?
Oh God, sorry. We'll fix this for next time. I
I
don't know why this is annoying.
Yeah.
We
Sincere apologies for
yeah,
this.
not sure. We haven't done anything different, so
Haven't seen those on the top before.
Oh, it's this, isn't it? Let me
Yeah.
just postulate. Okay. We shouldn't have any more now.
Weird.
Sorry, Amco. Yeah, I do apologise. Christina says, for 30 gauge bezel wire, I use flush cutters and clean up the edge by dragging over flat sandpaper.
Okay, yeah.
In my experience, the saw risks very much warping the very thing. Yeah, I find that because it just wants to bend, doesn't it? And collapses under the weight of the saw.
But as long as you tidy up the ends with a file or with some sandpaper, once you've done it, yes, that should be fine. Yeah.
Good.
Totally.
Julian says, I have seen dog and cat faces modelled in art clay. Cool.
Excellent. Good.
Lou says, I know that it can be modded and carved in wax, but I was hoping for some sort of deep cutting laser answer. We haven't got a laser machine, have we?
No.
We've had the laser pecker, but it would literally just etch. It wouldn't laser, it wouldn't engrave, it just kind of like burns a light image, a superficial image into the surface of the metal. So we don't really have any experience, I don't think, of deep laser engraving like that. So I do apologise. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Good.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about the adverts.
I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, I don't really know because nothing's changed. Sandra's ring is for a ring with a small faceted oval stone.
Yeah, there's not much you can do when it comes to work hardening the claws, because they've got to be fairly soft to bend over onto the stone. But once they're onto the stone, you may be able to rub them with a burnisher, perhaps just to try and get a bit of work hardness in the claw. But don't try and work harden them before you bend them, because they're not going to bend tight and neat onto the stone. But don't make them too long, otherwise they are going to catch. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to try carving and etching. We shall see what happens. Let me know how you get on. I'd really love to see. Art clay, silver clay, art clay. Silver Cube says art clay silver has a 10% shrinkage, so that might be an issue. So that's something to factor in if you.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay.
Good. We shall leave it there then. That's the end of the questions. Apologies for these adverts. We just have to look in to see what's going on with YouTube. So sorry about the adverts. Not quite sure what that thing is on the 12. Because last time we said, do you want adverts? And we did, and we just got adverts coming then through the whole broadcast.
We never want adverts.
But we don't want adverts.
We did,
adverts afterwards.
They put in adverts after, but we don't have any control over that.
No.
But we always choose no adverts so I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to turn them on, let alone off. So
we'll have a double check when we restart the next one.
Don't let me forget.
Okay, no worries.
Because it's very annoying.
It's especially for live. Don't mind the adverts there when it's on a replay, but not when it's live. I think that's silly to have adverts on a live. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So on there, 5 o'clock, we're going to love you and leave you. Thank you for coming on today. Sorry we weren't here last week. Don't forget, next Monday, we're going to be becoming grandparents, so we're not going to be here. We're going to see our lovely little baby girl. The following week, we're not going to be here because unfortunately we have to go to a funeral. But the week after that, so the 3 weeks time, we're going to be back. We're going to be here with a workshop. This is all going to be all about sea glass, priced at £25, the usual things, live demonstrations, drilling live. We got some imitation sea glass, we got some normal sea glass, and we're going to have a play around with that.
I'm excited. I got so much sea glass.
This is the thing, you do have so much sea glass, and we got loads of it from picking up on the beaches. So that'll be our workshop in 3 weeks time. That is when we're going to be seeing you again live. But in the meantime, we're going to be on the socials, usual thing, that sort of thing. Look out for pictures. So I finished going on about my birthday. That's a week ago now.
You're over that now.
Yeah, I'm over that now, just about. Tell you what I have got.
Hasn't got your address on there now, is it?
No, one of the girls in the work got me my case because I've got my bus pass. Yes, I'm that old. She's promised me a trip on the bus to Spoons. So I'm keeping it on me because I'm sure she's going to call in one day and say, right, come on, we're off to Spoons. We're going on the bus to Spoons. So anyway, yeah, free bus pass. Anyway, good. All right, we're going to leave you there. So
Can I come to Spoons?
but you have to pay.
Oh, okay.
I can't get you on the bus for free because you're not 60 like me. All right, we'll love you and leave you. Keep an eye on socials. We got lots of the usual things happening. Maybe a little bit quieter because we are working extremely hard in the shop because a member of staff who works on the bench is not going to be in for a few weeks. So we're going to be really, really busy with that. Did you do some filming or pictures today on your satin casting?
Oh, I started and then I just got, it's just, you know, you got the little screw on arm, which and you put your photo there and then you like that and you're like, oh yeah, okay, and you like press it and you like that, and I'll edit it after, it's fine, you're working away, and then the thing just goes whoop, doesn't it, and you're like, oh. Put it back up, and then something else, and then you're working, and then you realise you've forgotten to press record, and you just think, I can't be bothered. Why bother? So no, Andrew, I didn't. I didn't, okay? Yeah, so I've turned a wedding ring basically into a 9-carat wedding ring. It's a lovely lady who recently lost her husband, so I've wax carved a lovely heart, and I have made the wedding ring into a heart which she can wear as a pendant.
And you cast it
out of her late husband's wedding ring, so I've cast that, and I just love it. I just love doing jobs like this.
Good, isn't it?
So yeah, so it's just like calculating the weight of the wax versus, and I had to make the pendant the right weight, so I could use, so it would be the same weight as the metal and blah blah blah. So yeah, it's working out all that, planning it.
There's lots of maths involved, isn't
there? A
little
bit, yeah, but that's fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool. I love it.
Excellent. All right then, keep an eye out on socials. You never know what you may see.
What spoons? Oh, Sandra, Spoons is Weatherspoons.
Weatherspoons.
It's a pub in the UK where pounds are like pints are like £1.50 or
yes, cheap as chips.
All the food is just the same in every single Weatherspoons. How many Weatherspoons are there in the UK?
There 700, I think there was 700 Weatherspoons in the UK.
And they're all the same. Well, some are nicer than others, but they're all the same menu. It's the same. Yeah, you go into a Spoons and you know what to expect. Yeah. And you can just order off the app and you sit there and they bring you your food and drink and then, yeah.
What's not to love?
It's, it's just simple. Yeah, going to Spoons.
Going to Spoons,
yeah. Spoons.
All right, then we'll see you in 3 weeks' time with the workshop. We'll let you know plenty of time when the workshop is due. It's going to be £25. We may do perhaps a little bit of a special offer if you order it before the end of April. It'll be 15. Who knows, instead of 25. We'll see what happens. See if we've got time to organise that. But in the meantime, everyone enjoy the rest of your week and next week, and we will see you in 3 weeks' time. Anything else you want to say, Louise?
No, I don't think so. Not for now.
Okay, brilliant. Say goodbye then.
Goodbye.
Everyone, take care. We will see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.